Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm the Strategy Professor, and today we're going to be starting a brand new campaign for the Beastmen using the new SFO mod update that overhauled the Beastmen in October 2019. Let's go ahead and get started here, and we'll get into it. So, special thanks to Divine PK for sponsoring this campaign. Really appreciate it. If you'd like to sponsor a campaign yourself, just email me at thestrategyprofessor@gmail.com. We can set that up. It's just $30 for 15 episodes, or if you're a channel member, then it's just $25. You can become a member by hitting that join button next to the sub button. It's just a few dollars a month. It really helps out a ton on the channel. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you do enjoy the content. We have a ton of campaigns, always updating, adding more. We'd love to have you around. Okay, so let's talk about the Beastmen. Now, ignore this initial challenge. This thing is very hard early on. This is one of the harder campaigns out there. A lot of the Horde factions are particularly difficult because if you lose at pretty much any point in the game, if you lose your main army, it's really, really hard to come back because you don't have any territory to fall back onto. You can kind of get territory with Beastmen, but it's a little different. Like, your body is everything. You have to have your army. You can't lose. So... And especially playing on Legendary, very hard. There's no takesies backsies. You get into a bad fight, you lose the fight, you're probably going to lose the campaign. That actually happened to me when I was trying to record this earlier. I was trying to get some episodes out earlier today, and it was rough. I'd recorded like probably 10 episodes or so, and then I lost a major fight. Lost 2 of my generals in the Empire territory, and that was it. So now I'm restarting, going again. But I learned a lot of stuff, so I'm hoping I can bring that knowledge to you here. Okay, but you get 4 Lord recruit ranks for this. You get some of these things. We'll talk about that when we get in there. Some of the different resources that you have. The Lord recruit rank is very important. Get 5 leadership when fighting against men. 100 extra rating income from for your entire faction. That is massive. That's a huge amount of your money. And then you get 25% discount on Bestigors, recruitment cost and upkeep, turn duration to recruit them, and recruitment ranks. So they're all about those Bestigors. It's a tier 4 infantry unit, kind of like Black Orcs. It's pretty good. So Legendary, very hard. Let's go ahead and get in here. So I'm going to try to get us into a couple of fights here early on as much as I can. Like I said, it gets tough. So we're going to try to go for a fight, and then I'll explain some of these different systems. There's like 5 or 6 or something different strategic systems you have to pay attention to. You have the normal, if you played them in the base game, you still have the moon system in place. You still have the horde functionality. You still have the Bray Herds, which are basically the same as like Greenskin WAs. You win battles, you win fights, you kind of level up. But you have to get a lot of that WA from different sorts of quests and mechanics. You don't get as much from a lot of battles. There are some battles where you'll get some, but by and large, you have to use some quests for that. And then there's a new like it's like dark magic that you have to get kind of in the mid game to get some upgrades on your units. And then there's this call system, which sort of limits. It's kind of like the Wood Elf Amber system, where you have to spend it on technology and units right here that you kind of get by leveling up your lords through different quests and technologies. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this campaign, and I'll try to walk you through it as we come through here. But Dark Devotion, that's what it is. So you have like a shop system, kind of like the Tomb Kings with the Dark Devotion. So you can spend a combination of money and devotion to buy different things. You can buy followers, which some of the notable ones earlier, like Horde Growth +4, which is pretty good. Campaign movement range can be pretty solid. And then there's a couple of good ones down here. This one gives -10 armor to all enemies within 40 range, so that's very strong. And there's one... This one gives +10 weapon strength to everybody at the cost of 4 defense, so that's pretty good. Now these herd zones, this is temporary buffs that are very expensive, so we'll talk about those later. This is how you unlock special units. There are certain, basically Bestigors that are themed around the different Chaos Gods, which are similar to like the Chaos type of units you can get. They're very expensive, they cost a lot to get to, and then you can get a Wild Dragon Ogre at some point, but once again, expensive. We'll talk about it later. Bonds, these are buffs for your entire faction that are permanent. So like you can get Winds of Magic, Horde Growth's pretty good, Tribal Call, so you can get some more call, which allows you to buy more units and get more tech upgrades. That's pretty handy. There's some decent stuff in there. And then Ascensions. Half of these are temporary buffs for 5 turns, which are like okay. They don't cost any dark magic. And then you can get weapons as well that are like, some of them are okay, but most of the weapons aren't really that impressive. That are a combination of Dark Devotion plus the money. Okay, so I think 8... I think we're just going to bum rush them. So we're going to come down to here. And we might just go ahead and hire... how much should I get for rating? I think it's that much. Early, yeah, 237. Yeah, I think we're just going to come down and just bum rush the capital. So you need to be within 25 paces to get hidden in camp. I should have made sure that he was also going to be within 25. I might need to move a little bit more over 26. I think we'll be able to beat him either way. Let me see. I've got a little bit more. Should double check that. 23. Just outside of the range. Hopefully they don't come out and attack me. I mean, I guess they could. They're not going to have any units. It'd be 8 on 8 on 8, and I've got Minotaurs and Khazrak, Legendary Lord. So we'd probably be able to beat them even if they couldn't. But yeah, I should have brought them a little bit closer together for perfect play. Okay, so we're going to go with that, and then we're going to just recruit a couple of these spears. Same deal here. A couple of spears. Now, one thing that I want to do here, it's really important that Khazrak gives +4 Lord recruitment, because what we're going to do is we're going to replace this Lord, and we're going to grab... okay, Frenzy doesn't matter that much. Okay, we do... leadership's good. If we don't have a lot of Lords and Heroes, maybe 4 leadership is worth the cost. Probably not, though. So we're just going to go with this. So this is a new type of ward that was added. It's like a shaman type of ward. Typically in the base game, you just have the normal, these guys. You can also get a Doom Bull, but you want magic really fast in the campaign, because that's kind of your great equalizer against these crazy garrisons that we're going to be fighting against. You really, really need the magic. So we're going to go with this. Comes in at rank 5. And then we just want to get Flock of Doom. 2 points of that, 2 points of Devolve. And then probably Agility over Strength. We want that pretty quickly, but we also want to upgrade all of our dudes kind of quickly too. We want to get the Fury of the Herd, and then we're going to load this guy up with Bray Herd stuff. Now, getting the 8 Horde growth is nice. We will get that eventually, as well as this, but we're not going to be able to afford upgrade buildings anytime soon, so we need anything that saves us money. So this is going to be -30 or 30% upkeep reduction for Ungor units, which we really, really want. How many do we have? Yeah, we have a decent chunk of them. So I think we're going to go ahead and get that right off the bat. Now, it does increase your cost for Minotaurs and Gore units later, but we can get other types of units and play around that with this army if we need to later on. The most important thing is early on, get that cost under control. So we're going to go ahead and grab that. And probably just start going for Fury of the Horde. The movement speed is nice, but we need to make sure that all of our Ungors are upgraded here. And then we're going to just try to stack him up with as many Ungors as we can, because he's going to have the 30% discount. And then we're going to try to get a Bray Herd with him. You have to have 17 units in an army to get a Bray Herd. So we're going to donate all of these Ungors over to him to get the 30% discount, because your money is really tight early. Now we're going to go for Horde building cost reduction, which will help us afford stuff, and then 4 Horde growth. This stuff is good, but it's very expensive, so we'll just talk about that later. Basically, you can customize and upgrade key units here, but it costs you a lot of calls, so there's like 25, 40, 60. So it's really tough to get those. One that we want early right here is the Ungor cost reduction for 25 call. But you also have to use call on units, so like Minotaurs will cost 3, Bestigors will cost 2. So it's just like the Amber system for the Wood Elves. So you have to kind of choose, do you want to upgrade this or do you want better units? And it becomes tough in the early to mid game to make that choice. And then over here, every time you learn one of these techs, you get minus 10% research, so it's slower and slower. And you have to spend 5,000 gold, or whatever they call this, total favor, in order to buy these to get more research. And these things give you some incremental upgrades for everybody. So you get +2 call, which is really nice, and 3% upkeep reduction and research rate, and then +1 leadership in various situations. So this is when you're laying siege. This is raising settlements and ambushes. This is forest battles and loot, and this is raiding and defending. So the leadership doesn't matter that much. The main thing is the income that you want. So the best ones are probably the upkeep reduction and the raiding, but we'll eventually get all of them. Okay, so we got those. We got our tech going. Diplomacy. The Skaven kind of like us early on.
Icket Clan, what do you offer? Things for burn
So
fuel
we're going to run with that
forges.
because what we want is for Icket to come through as we burn stuff and for him to occupy all of this so that he can defend it and the good guys won't come back and reoccupy. So that way if we get into trouble, if we need to fall back, then we'll have like some neutral territory. Whereas typically you can't ever fall back as Beastmen and the good guys will come back in and clean up all the stuff that you just burned. So in the campaign that I just ran a little bit ago, you know, I burned like through here, burned some wood elf stuff, and then burned over here, and then I got like through here. But by the time I ended up getting punked over here, like Paravon had gone through and taken all of this back, like the dwarves have come through and taken all this back. So being friends with the Skaven is very helpful. I used that in the Chaos campaign as well for a little while. Had the Skaven kind of give me a nice fallback zone if I need it. Okay, that's pretty much it here. Go. So it can be difficult to siege this place early. In the base game, it was almost impossible, but it's more possible here just because you get magic early, and specifically you get Flock of Doom and Devolve early on the same unit if you do that, which is massive, massive damage to lightly armored units like you're going to find Empire, Bretonia, even a lot of the Wood Elves. It can be very, very useful against them. So that's why you go for both of that magic. They did rejigger the magic a little bit if you saw, so that if you have to get an extra point, which is kind of good in that intermediary zone. If you saw that, like it's kind of boxed. So if you go through all the way through the beast magic, then you cannot go through all the way of the wild magic. You have to choose. You can't get the elites in both. However, you can get the early skills in both. So we can get Flock of Doom and Devolve, which are both AoE, like very good at cleaning up lightly armored stuff. And then later we can choose if we want to go for a Cygor or if we want to go for a Manticore. In my trial run, I just went all the way through the beast magic and got the Manticore, which was useful. But frankly, like, Devolve is going to be way better than the Manticore typically. Devolve is so good. They've nerfed a lot of the other magic, like Flock of Doom is 16 magic upgraded. Devolve is only 12, and it does more damage and gives really nice debuffs. But it's much shorter range. But a lot of the stuff, has been nerfed over time with SFO mod. So I think that the Devolve is pretty legit. Okay, so this is a permanent buff that you get. Now, you can do your own way, which is not permanent, but you get Vigor Loss Reduction, Dark Devotion. I don't know what happens after 10 turns. I assume that you get just 500 Dark Devotion, that's it. It's not worth it. You want to keep these prophecies. So this one like buffs up your leaders. It's okay. You get just a bunch of leadership. And your heroes and lords get Frenzy, which is pretty good. You get extra recruit ranks, that's like okay. This one buffs up your army, extra leadership, speed, melee attack, but at the cost of stuff for your lords. Your lords lose armor and melee attack. You gain experience for everybody. So that one's pretty legit. I could see an argument for that one. But the herds, this is so good. I feel like you have to have this. It's campaign movement range, 10% for everybody. Bestial rage, upkeep reduction for everybody. Horde growth for everybody. And replenishment for everybody. So that's just insane. Now you do lose the melee defense, which sucks, but that's such good campaign management. Like, it gives you so much money and so much growth, and that's exactly what you need early on. So we're gonna go herds. Okay, so they see us, but we still got to recruit. Okay,
I
they
will
didn't get
not
any extra
obey.
units. They have Pistoliers, which aren't even that great. Now the Skaven came over here and burned this on turn 1. Okay. Drop down here.
Khazrak.
We're just gonna siege. And thinks we won't win. I think otherwise. Oh, these are even kind of injured a little bit. Oh, it's dope. So yeah, in the past this would have been a suicide mission, but because of the magic, I think we'll probably do all right. You just basically run, scale the walls. You aren't completely debilitated when you scale. You're still weakened, but because they have strong vigor, then they aren't like completely run out of vigor. Vigor affects so many things. It affects your armor, it affects your leadership, it affects your movement, affects your accuracy, and I think it might even affect your melee attack and or defense. I don't remember the exact stats, and I think SFO may have changed it a little bit, but... Okay. So we had to lead with him on the attack because we have the siege attacker with the Minotaurs. And yeah, everyone's pretty much just gonna climb these walls.
Chaos Death. Angors. Dark Beast. Angors. Dark Beast.
Okay, so we're just gonna try to get up on these walls and then eventually get this around on them.
Angors. Fast. Barosh Khazrak.
We must defend our homes!
Facultat! Lakshai! Vikun! Ashkigwa! Quipsack! Angors! Dark Earth! Dark Earth! So bad!
Go up that wall, boy.
By Simon! Angle! Sergap Arbaf! Silver Quill! Angors! Akash! By Simon! Course! Cardoon! Quilla! Angle! Korsla! Smash! Soyuz Ark! Quillak! Oski Dawas! Dagger Free!
He's finally coming up there.
Quipsack! Bah! Akash Ak! Angors! Rafka! Khazrak! Angors! Willak! Sawushra! Mayhem! Ghouls! Chaos! Warhammer! Khazrak! Ungles! Car Chaos! Shayas Ak! Kalkum! Nasa Wusha! Shayas Ak! By Simon! Ghouls! Ak! Car Chaos! Ak! Chaos Girth! Khazrak! As me! Uncles! Girth Beastmen! Dargurth! Undoors!
Yeah, we're just gonna keep using devolve here.
Cloven ones! Ghouls! Fast!
By the time these guys actually get this gate down, the fight's probably gonna be over. We've almost got it. Oh, I didn't even realize we had a couple.
Uncles! Fast! Ach! Faguda!
Oh, we got the gate. Alright, roll on in.
Khazrak! Parakawan! Akas Ak! Raru! Ba! Fas!
He's still very tired. They're all right.
Cloven ones!
Pretty much fine.
War! Uncles! Rothkai!
Get some of these other units.
Gather!
Thin him out a little bit, but then also get the debuff on board. Drops his leadership.
Chaos God! Chaos Says! Course! Claw! Kill up! Dark Eye Rat! Rough Car! Zagat Arbath! Uncles! Fast! Wusha Wusha! Uncles! Bar! Luck of! Chaos Bird!
Kind of just a wet noodle fight here. Now they all should die. I'm under the impression that it shouldn't matter. I guess we'll just go ahead and end it. I do like running people down, because I feel like it gives you more Bray action, but it might just be if you manually fight it versus if you auto-resolve it. But there are some battles where you auto-resolve, and it, like, even if you kill a lot of units, it won't give you any Bestial Rage, or it'll give you very little, like 1 or something, even though you kill like 500 units. Like, cleanly decisive victory. Now, the Bray Herds don't matter that much. They're okay sometimes, sort of, kind of, but I didn't use them too much in my run. So it's not much money, but you need to take the money early. So your options are you can burn it. For money, you can burn it and get Dark Devotions. This is one of your main ways you get Dark Devotion, is through this. And remember, you need this to buy like mid-game stuff, like access to those really high-tier units, and for some really nice sort of faction-wide buffs. But you just can't afford it early. The growth can be good in some circumstances. You do get a lot of growth, a lot more with this than you do in the base game, although stuff also costs more growth. But in that context, like, it's not unusual in kind of the mid to late game to get, or like early to mid game, I should say, to have like 30 growth on a lord. It really ends up being like 1.5 turns of growth. And one of the major things that holds you back early typically is not growth, but money. So the growth, there are certain spots where maybe it's okay if you don't need the money. But by and large, we're probably just going to be doing the loot and raise option. Or if we're stable on the money, then the this option. This option also gives you 25 casualty replenishment, which is nice. Now, you can defile and occupy, but I really would not recommend this until really late game. You have to upgrade this building to tier 2, and it's very vulnerable. It has a super small garrison, and all it gives you one extra rank for any heroes and lords that you recruit faction wide, so that's really good. The other stuff is it gives you 2 call, which is okay, pretty good. 2 call, and then 2 dark magic or whatever, dark devotion per turn, so it's all right. But you have to invest, like, I think it's like 5,000 or 6,000 gold, and you can't really defend it very well. So you have to make sure no one's going to go and backdoor it. So late game could be interesting, potentially, but most of the early game, we need money. Your buildings are expensive. There are certain things that can lower the cost, but just even going to tier 2 is 4,000 gold. Which is crazy. That's 8,000, 12,000, 20,000. Then upgrading these things are like 3,000. 3,000. I mean, that's why it's so devastating if you get sacked, is because it's so much gold and you're so hard up for money. Okay, so we're just gonna burn that. And we do not want to take agility over strength here. We probably want to go for the Ungor, because we are gonna, well, I don't know. We are going to have some Ungors with him, but at the same time, a lot of our stuff, we're going to probably try to have the Gore Herd, the Gore Bull, the Minotaurs, and all that here, and Khazrak. So maybe going for the cost reduction here is better, the 10% reduction first, and then eventually coming up and going for Fury of the Herd might be better. I think so. Let's get that. We need to get that money. I'm not even not playing. The money is for real. Okay, so while we're chilled here, let's go ahead and switch this up. So we're moving all of this stuff over to here, which is a little awkward. Because you would think you would want it on your main lord, but look how much money I saved there. That right there was like 200 or 300 gold worth because he has the 30% discount. But we don't want to get this with our main lord because we do want Minotaurs, and we are going to get Gore units with the main lord. So it's kind of awkward, but we want most of our early game stuff under the Ungor, and then eventually once we start getting higher tech units, then we put it over on the other dude. Okay. So that seems like a good time to do it because we can't move anyways. Have no dark favor. Skaven
Pick
are
a warm
to
fortune we talk instead of fight kill, yes? Make a deal pact with Scryer.
Just want to try to get money out of them whenever we can. We can't hire anything? Okay, we're good. So yeah, pretty tough siege early. Sort of, but it's like that magic, man. The devolve. The, and you might say, well, why even spec into, Flock of Doom? The reason is, like, yes, devolve is better, but you have to wait on the cooldown for devolve, and they increase the cooldown on everything by a ton. Like, almost double what it used to be. So they increase, well, I guess it's 10 seconds more than it used to be on most spells, but then they also lowered when you upgrade it. It used to give you a 50% discount, and now it only gives you a, I think it's a 20% discount, maybe 30% discount on the cooldown. So devolve ends up being like a 40-second cooldown after you use it, and sometimes in your fights, you just need them injured, you know? You don't have time to wait, you know, a million turns to get all of your devolves in there, because I'm pretty sure devolve seems like it does more damage than Flock of Doom, and it puts a nice debuff on there, and it has the same radius. But Flock of Doom allows you to open with it because it's much longer range. It's 300 range versus 100. And you can have both on there at the same time. And most of the time, especially in these early fights, you really want to be able to use both of them, because you just can't wait to be ultra efficient with devolve, because you just need that damage there. Now Traderkin is another one. I'm not sure how much damage it does. Okay, we're just gonna do the faction-wide caps. I think this campaign's challenging enough without having to do army caps. Your units aren't even like that great compared to other factions. Do we just run for it? I mean, we could hire a couple more units, but we need that for this, not for Billiby. I do want to get to 17 eventually, but I think we can probably just run for it, because we can't afford to upgrade our town. Well, actually, we might be able to afford to upgrade. We have enough growth. One more turn and maybe we can upgrade, because that will give us access to this discount, another 10% on them. Let's just run for it. I'm gonna go around and kill these guys before they get much back. And so we want to hit Billiby, and then we want to get up there into Bretonnian property and start raiding as soon as possible so that we can get money and start building up our bestial rage. And that's where we, while we're getting that money, that's when we'll start leveling up stuff. Like leveling up our towns, maybe. And we'll need to start recruiting more here in a little bit, but you don't want to go over the top with the recruiting, because you can definitely go into the red pretty quickly. The Durthu is extremely scary, by the way. You need to be, like, proceed with extreme caution versus him, because I've been wiped by him before. So you need to be ultra careful. If you can auto-resolve against him, you need to. Like, he's just one of the most OP lords in the game, honestly, especially early game. He has Flock of Doom, which is really good against your army. He's huge. He has 1,000,000 hit points. He has, like, 15,000 hit points. He has, like, AoE attacks, so he's super good against infantry. He has pretty high armor. He's got, like, 90 armor. He has some physical resist. He has okay melee defense. It's not great. But yeah, he's just a pest. And he has, like, a free sort of, like, magical missile spell as well, which also does huge AoE damage. I mean, early on when I played Wood Elves with Durthu, like, he'll get first battle of the game, like this massive siege against Paravon, he'll get like 600 or 700 kills. He's just ridiculous. And we're just not going to have anything to deal with that early on. Like, you can surround him with Ungor spears, but it's just really hard to deal with him. Yeah, we'll allow the Beastmen in the mid game. I do that with every other campaign, so it seems to be.
By Sigma, no!
So we want to lead with him so that he gets the Bray.
Eyes Lexi.
Also, he can go into a hidden camp and hire a couple units. Well, can he do that? No, he doesn't have the movement for it. Okay.
Khazrak!
Really, they think they're gonna win this? What are they smoking? I mean, they don't have a really good job of, or they don't do a really good job of calculating. There's no real reason to rush. We can wait until the rest of our units come in. They don't have any sort of like trebuchets. Actually open them up a little bit with a
Angles! Zargubabov!
beast. The long range Flock of Doom.
Beastmen! Pass! Ba! Nasho Mushra! Baros Khazrak! Kahana Chaos! Ba!
It's a pretty good hit. So you usually knock out like 25% to 30% of HP.
Farudan! Sayishak! Ba!
Yeah, devolve costs less, costs 4 less, and it costs the same to upgrade it or not. It's just that's really what they ended up doing was they made the base cost the same as the upgraded cost. It's just you have a chance to misfire when it's the upgraded cost, I guess.
Fast! Rafka! Ba! Ba! Slow! Khazrak! Slow! Chaos good! Soyuz Ark! Angle! Beastmen! Forward Goon! Angle! Zeros!
That's a bit more expensive, but it does quite a bit of damage too. But 15 is a lot for that thing, but that really
Angles!
smacks some people.
Bah! Dark beasts! Rafka! Angles! Fast!
They're all shattered. They're running. Okay, he's running too. All right. Yeah. Massacre the unarmored masses, basically. Because you can have both debuffs on them at the same time. And the devolve lowers their leadership by like 9 or something. halfway tempted just to take the Dark Devotion so that I can get some other stuff. But I think I still need the money early. I do want the, there's an armor shredding follower or like banner that's really good. I think it's like 275 or something, but I think we still need the money. Could get gargantuan hooves, but I think I want this Fury of the Herd. We just want to get those guys up as much as possible. It's 4,000. I think we want to wait 4 turns and at least get the 10% discount on buildings before we upgrade. Could just go ahead and grab a couple more. Can't recruit anymore there. Like I said, I think we're still going to wait on the cash for now. And we need to get up here and start raiding. Because the raiding does give you a lot of cash. Over time. Like some of these raids eventually, I've seen like 2,000 or 3,000 gold raids. But you gotta kind of have some more stuff spec'd into it. But like, there's some skills you can get in the blue tree, in the first little section of the blue tree. Give you 30% extra rating. And then a bunch of things kind of like that. Now raiding with this mod does give you casualty replenishment, 10% casualty replenishment. You can't hire while you're raiding. There's some factions that can hire while you're raiding, I think. It might have been Norska. I'm not sure. But, maybe it was Chaos. I don't know. Either way, you can raid. It only takes 25% to raid, and it does give you replenishment, which is handy. You do still, if they attack you, you do still start the fight winded, which is not great, but... we gotta wait on that 10% discount, and then we'll buy our next upgrade. Particularly wanted on our main person to start, or our mage to start with for the discount, because he's gonna be... and we do need to get to Minotaurs quickly too. We'll decide where we want to put it on. Rumors are false. I think it's realistic that Empire might want to fight each other sometimes.
Chaos! Durkawas! Khazrak Fazli!
Two Bestial Rage. Yeah, it's fine. For the discount, and then you also gain Bestial Rage whenever you raid, so that's handy. Alright, and then with this guy we'll hire 2 more.
Khazrak Abla!
So raiding doesn't do anything. This does lower upkeep. So I guess I can go over here and maybe hire whatever, that's fine. We'll just stay where we are.
Eyes Lexai!
It is expensive, but we do have some like major fights coming up, and we need to make sure that we've got a lot of units, because Bretonnia is probably going to creep up on us here in a second. I could have seen if the rats would give us money there. I could try it next turn. So we can have like Khazrak hide hidden in camp, and then we can have the other person raid. Or we can have Khazrak raid and the other person hide so that they're not winded. So you can kind of bait them out. Because if you're in hidden in camp stance, then it's like ambush. They can't really see you until they get super close. Okay, you definitely want the Gorbel. This thing's really, really strong. And he doesn't take a lot of levels to get powerful either. You just get like maybe 3 or 4 levels on him, and you get a huge impact. Alright, so we're gonna probably just get up here and raid yet. Not yet. I guess we'll just come up to here.
Hence.
So he's starting to get expensive, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna need some horsepower to take these guys down. These are still fairly cheap. They're only 109 extra. I think we can still get a couple of those. Once we start raiding and getting some more discounts, I think it'll be better. Okay, Skaven haven't occupied either one of these yet, which is a little weird. Okay, I think we just raid, because I don't need to hire anything, can't afford to buy anything right now. It does lower upkeep by 10% also. And then we'll put him, this army. Lower him, his cost a little bit. Actually, I need to increase it a little bit. Whatever, okay. We're about to get some techs soon, so we have to upgrade. We have to choose if we want to upgrade Khazrak and get to the Minotaurs faster, or if we want to go the Econ route and upgrade the other guy. And we could try to rush to Malagor. Get a third army out there and just keep spamming Ungors with discounts on everybody except for Khazrak to start with. Because Malagor, we can put different stuff on him too. Eventually. Like we could put like a lot of the like specialty kind of units on Malagor. like a giant, and each one like the Chaos God themed Bestigor units we can put on them. We can put normal Bestigors on him. Minotaurs are like a really good beast of choice, but when it says Gore upkeep is increased, I'm not sure if that's Gore or Bestigor. But either way, that upkeep, that 30% upkeep is a huge deal because you can just get like a 17 stack of like Ungore units with all the cost reduction on them, and then just like raid your way into a Bray Herd and just use that Bray Herd as kind of your elite units and just like rove around the map and you know, kill stuff that way. So it's cheap, it's efficient, works out really well. What do we want here? Cost of skill. Leadership minus 15, which is a lot early on, but it does give you Dark Devotion. So we could try to just not fight them early, and that Dark Devotion would allow us to get the one of those specialty followers, either the 10% damage or the minus 10 armor. Bestial Rage, that would give us a Bray Herd, like, for sure, within a couple of turns. We're only going to get one Bray Herd off of that, not two. We don't need the replenishment. This was really good in the base game, but in this one it's a little bit less so. Oh, we don't have the discount. I thought Endless Herd... Okay, so it's Horde Growth. Okay, I thought we had the one that was, like, upkeep reduction for everybody. Yeah, I don't care about that one. That's pretty good. Costs a lot of extra money. Yeah, I guess we just go cost. Now the minus 15 leadership is definitely a big deal. My units are definitely going to run much more often. Leadership 28. But the dark magic is so strong early. How much is this? So we can get a doe for 127, which is Horde Growth. How much is that iron one I was thinking of? Totem of Rust is 255. So that's steep. How much is the attack? Is 212 for melee. I think the Totem of Rust is at 40 range or... Yeah, 40 range, lowers armor by 10. It's really good. Okay. So I think we'll go ahead and end one more turn, and that'll probably be it. Blessed by Evil, get that cost down. I mean, we kill him with just the magic itself, pretty much. Let me scout really quick with this bull. You gotta learn how to do that if you're playing on Legendary. You gotta scout. I know Carcassonne has armies somewhere. I'm not sure what they're doing or what they're fighting, but they've definitely got 2 armies. I mean, we can siege and kill that next turn if they don't come back.
Chaos.
Definitely a little tricky with the 33 leadership. They're gonna run like almost immediately. But like he does give out the leader, like a leadership buff to everybody, so it gives him like plus 10. We'll see. We might get smacked for
Zero chaos.
grassland. Is none of this forest? Is that light forest? Okay, that's what I want.
Sobar. Dalef Acta.
Left.
So it's only costing us a little bit of cash. Alright, so we'll go ahead and intern. That'll probably be it right here. Sounds like something's got burned. What was that? Arc Duff. Okay, so somebody burned the orc place. Wait, does Carcassonne owns all of this? This is going to be spicy. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to win this or not if we go for the burn. We would definitely be able to win it if we didn't have that leadership debuff. So I'm kind of like, I don't know if that was a good idea or not. But it's greedy. But if we can get away with it, like getting that extra dark magic early is really handy if you can get a rust totem. Just lowering everybody's armor by 10 is huge, especially against Bretonia, because they just don't have very much armor on most of their little peasant units. Or the 10% extra damage is very big too. That's my fault. Recruit any type of missile infantry. Your missile infantry is terrible with this faction.
Devotee of the lady.
Okay, no, they don't have all this. I don't know what else see on the map. Yeah, that definitely got burned. Skaven, for some reason, is not occupying this stuff, so that's a little curious. We'll probably start off trying to fight them.
Iketkla! Now, what do you want from me?
We might try to see if we can get them to pay us a little money for to go to war with people. So, who are they at war with?
Those who displease me do not
Nose.
live
Okay,
to
so
tell
Broken
on it.
Nose might pay us to go to war with them. They like us. What? Oh, they have a super strong aversion.
Say what you gotta say. Before
Yeah, they're about to get
I
wiped,
leave
so
it
we
at-
probably want to just... We want to get money off of them any way we can do it. They'll definitely pay us for that. Then we'll see if they'll pay us for non-aggression since they're about to die. Just get that money out of their hands. Can't take it with you, Grandpa. Give it here. Brutal, dude. People really are kind of the worst when someone's dying on their deathbed and squabbling over their money.
Dogwamon!
So can we... Rail Knights. None of these cause fear. We'll think about it. I think we can probably just beat them strictly on just spamming spells, just killing them all, and just climbing up. I mean,
Khazrak Dawakut.
both both of these guys have the encourage, the leadership stuff. It's just like, there's definitely going to be some people running. What else could I have taken? I could have just punted and taken like the replenishment. I don't remember. The horde growth would have probably been okay. I don't know. We'll see, but we might try to come over here and burn this. We need to scout with the bull first and just make sure no one's within range. And if they aren't in range, then we might go for it. We'll see. We'll figure it out next episode. But anyways, I mean, if we just hang out and have to just raid for a little bit, that's fine. We are building up our stuff, and just raiding to get that Dark Devotion is probably worth. We could also stop one of these guys and upgrade the building to get like one of these. Sadie, what is it? But anyways, that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you very much. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. If you'd like to sponsor a campaign yourself, just email me at thestrategyprofessor@gmail.com. Let me know what you have in mind. We can probably set that up. And I'll see you next time. Have a great day.